Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, Tuesday, June 6, 1944, 72 years ago to the day, the Allied invasion of Normandy began as the largest seaborne invasion in history to liberate the German-occupied northwestern Europe from Nazi control. Today, I brought an Omaha Beach veteran, Mr. J. Douglas Trumbull, to be recognized this day here in the House of Representatives. Before I formally introduce Mr. Trumbull to you, I would like to describe what occurred on D-Day. First of all, what does the D mean in D-Day? People believe it stood for Designated Day, Decision Day, Doomsday, or even Death Day. The real answer is that the D actually means day, days before and days after the invasion. So if it was D-4, it was 4 days to the invasion. D+4 was 4 days after the invasion. General Eisenhower used D-Day as departed date, as all amphibious operations have departed dates. And please keep in mind, there were other D-Days as well, including those in the Pacific, North Africa, Sicily, and Italy. June 6, 1944 began as an extensive aerial and naval bombardment and an airborne assault which consisted of 24,000 American, British, and Canadian troops just after midnight. Allied infantry and armored divisions began landing on the coast of France at 6:30 in the morning. A 50-mile stretch of the beach was divided into 5 sectors, known as Utah, Omaha, Gold, June, and Sword Beach. That day, the weather did not cooperate. There was very strong winds causing the English Channel to be very rough and choppy. Fog was heavy in the early morning hours, making the bombings of the enemy locations impossible because the Allied pilots did not want to drop bombs on Allied forces. As the fog cleared, the bombings took place. 8 different navies comprising of 6,939 vessels, 1,213 warships, 41-26 landing craft of various types, 736 ancillary aircraft, and 864 merchant vessels involving 195,000 naval personnel participated in the invasion. 160,000 soldiers from America, Canada, and England descended on the beaches. The landing crafts could only get as close as 100 yards from the shoreline due to the German army placing lots of debris along the beach in the water to prevent the landing craft from reaching the shore. Soldiers had to exit the landing craft about 100 yards from the shore. They jumped out of their landing craft in chest and neck high, very cold water in the English Channel to make their way to the beach. Omaha Beach and Utah Beach, the soldiers were under very heavy fire from gun emplacements overlooking the beach, and also the shore was mined and covered with obstacles such as wooden stakes, metal tripods, and barbed wire. Casualties were heaviest at Omaha Beach with its high cliffs. Soldiers were being killed while still in the water by machine gun fire and mortar shells while they tried to reach the shore. The biggest obstacle was in the very high cliffs where the enemy was bunkered in. By this time, the fog began to lift and Allied aircraft began bombing the enemy. Now imagine yourself on a beach with your fellow soldiers being killed all around you, bullets flying everywhere, landmines going off, and many obstacles in your way preventing you to reach some sort of safety or cover. In addition, you just came out of a very cold, rough sea, soaking wet and very tired with Allied aircraft shooting and bombing the landscape. A tremendous amount of activity. Omaha Beach was the most heavily defended beach by the Nazis. Still, the Allied forces pressed on. Of the 34,000 plus soldiers who landed on Omaha Beach, only 600 reached higher ground by late morning. By noon, the artillery fire from ships took its toll. The Germans started to run out of ammunition, and the Americans were able to clear some lanes on the beach so vehicles could move off the beach. Objectives for Omaha Beach were reached by D+3. That's 3 days after the actual invasion. The French resistance played a very vital role in June 6th. 1944, by sabotaging the rail system, destroying electrical facilities, conducting delayed operations to slow down the enemy, and cutting underground telephone and teleprinter cables. It actually took until June the 12th for all 5 beaches to be secured for a foothold. That day, the Nazis suffered approximately 1,000 casualties. Allied casualties were at least 10,000, with 4,414 confirmed dead. In the days and weeks to follow, the Allied forces marched through France, Luxembourg, Belgium, Holland, and ended up in Schwerin, Germany, where the Allied forces met the Russian forces in virtually ending the war in Europe. Private First Class J. Douglas Trumbull was a member of the 121st Infantry Division and the 8th Division Signal Company. He was involved in the landing at Omaha Beach, fighting his way all the way to the Herdingen Forest, which was one of the longest battles on German ground during World War II. Private First Class Trumbull was up in a tree in the Herdingen Forest stringing communication lines. He observed a platoon of Nazi soldiers coming in his direction. Fearing for his life that they would shoot him, he yelled to them, he said, they were surrounded by American forces. He ordered them to surrender or die. The entire platoon of 50 to 75 Nazi soldiers walked into American forces and surrendered. This action may have saved his own life. You know, the funny part about this, the Nazis were not surrounded. Private First Class Trumbull was honored on March 4th, 2015 at the French Embassy in Washington, D.C. He received the Chevalier of the Legion of Honor medal from the French government as a sign of France's gratitude for his personal contribution to the liberation of France during World War II. Today in the House of Representatives, we have with us a true American hero, one of many who saved the United States and the world to ensure we still have our liberty and freedom today. I would like to introduce to you Private First Class J. Douglas Trumbull. Would you please stand?